NCSoft Q4 2023. Guild Wars 2 is a bright spot for NCSoft as Throne and Liberty stumbles, which means it's up to Amazon to save the game. Bandai Namco reports year-over-year sales drop, admitting Blue Protocol JP significantly fell short, which means it's up to Amazon to save the game. And taking a look at the other games that Amazon own or operate, New World with 9,924 players in game right now with a 14,669 player peak, and Lost Ark with 48,461 players online right now and a 61,246 player peak. Maybe betting on Amazon was not the right choice. Now, I have been talking very positively about Blue Protocol ever since it was announced, I think all the way back in 2019, so 5 years ago. I've also been talking very highly of Project TL, which was what Throne and Liberty was before it rebranded into Throne and Liberty. Both games I was very excited for. I'm still kind of excited for Blue Protocol, given I did enjoy the Japanese beta test and the Japanese launch. I just felt like there wasn't really like an abundance of things to do. Guild Wars 2 has always done exceptionally well, I think, for NCSoft. I think the Lineage MMOs have always done moderately well. Ion has always, or at least for the last several years, has underperformed. Blade and Soul has underperformed. Throne and Liberty was supposed to be their next big MMO, the next big moneymaker for them. But according to Massively OP, who actually sourced the NCSoft IR and Ruli Web, Q4 NAEU sales grew by 15% quarter over quarter due to strong sales of Guild Wars 2. Which I'm sure almost nobody ever thought they would hear. So that's a welcome tidbit. During the investor call, NCSoft was taken to task for masking those per game revenues as well as for revealing no revenue data for Throne and Liberty. For whatever reason, they have chosen to hide the revenue for Throne and Liberty. I'm pretty sure we can all guess why that is the case, which launched in Korea in the middle of the quarter. NCSoft told investors that Throne and Liberty, and this is the most important part of the entire investor call, the entirety of the revenue report. Throne and Liberty had underperformed, and that they are working on sorting out the game's rocky launch. However, it looks as if NCSoft is banking more on Amazon's global release to save the game. So I just want to point out here, Korean players who this game directly targets first and foremost as a Korean MMO hate the game. Nobody wants to play it. Why would we? I'm sorry. The game has been poorly received. The game has done poorly. They have openly admitted that it underperformed, and Amazon are going to publish this game in the hopes that we play it and we spend money on it, even though it has been proven to be a piece of trash. Now, I know there are some of you out there that like the game or that have been enjoying the game, but that doesn't change the fact that the overwhelming majority evidently do not feel that way. And with all the server merges that have been going on, it is clear that the active player base has declined by a substantial number. And when the developer themselves openly admit their game underperformed, there's no way you can defend them or the game at this point. But that's just Throne and Liberty. Let's take a look at Blue Protocol. Before we do, though, I want to take a moment here to thank our incredible patrons over on Patreon who allow for me to continue to do dedicated videos on MMOs like this every single week. You guys are phenomenal, and I cannot thank you all for the support. First and foremost, Video Games Chronicle, and a lot of actually news websites have reported this. Bandai Namco reveals that it recently canceled 5 games, saying it plans for stricter quality control. This is after the publisher reported a 96% drop in year-on-year profits in its game division. A 96% drop. That is an astronomical number. I honestly don't think anyone can contest the fact that clearly they are in a bad state right now, and if Blue Protocol were a larger success than it has been, they probably wouldn't have suffered as severe a drop. Navigating on over to Massively OP though, Bandai Namco has disclosed its fiscal year third quarter financial reports, and it looks like things are not going well for the developer and publisher, as its operating profit for its digital entertainment segment took an 8.9% hit to net sales compared to the same period last year, and a 96.5% drop in income. According to a statement from the company, most of its profit drop is being attributed to the massive sales of Elden Ring. I think Elden Ring sold, what, like 20-something million copies? 23 million copies. Holy crap from last year not being replicated this year, even as other titles in the Dragon Ball, One Piece, and Armored Core IPs did well. The income deficit is also causing Bamco to review its development processes, which has resulted in 5 in-development titles being cancelled according to a follow-up Q&A session with investors, chalking the canceled development up to a loss on disposal. The fiscal report has also caused Bandai Namco to make some financial projection revisions. Naturally, this makes us wonder what is happening with Bandai Namco's anime MMORPG Blue Protocol. A related quarterly presentation from the Japanese site does make reference to the game, which said, and this is once again the most important part of the entire financial report, the new online game significantly fell short of plan, according to a fan translation on Reddit. Significantly fell short. Underperformed, significantly fell short. Both games are doing terribly. These are 2 highly anticipated upcoming MMOs. One from NCSoft, who has a history with actually pushing out some decent quality games. Lineage and Lineage 2, Blade and Soul, Guild Wars 2, Ion before it became shit. Bandai Namco with, God, I don't even, like, there are dozens of different intellectual properties. The Tales of games, Scarlet Nexus, God Eater. They published Elden Ring. Like, they have a lot of very high quality games as well. But both their MMOs are underperforming, or in the case of Blue Protocol, significantly underperforming. However, the game is still getting updated in Japan, and its executive producer is trying to project a rosy 2024 as he talked up the game's cross-platform release to Xbox and PS5 in December, promised further adjustments based on player feedback, and looked ahead to the MMO's first anniversary in the country. Meanwhile, the Western release window hasn't yet shifted from Amazon's plan for sometime this year. Now, I will give them credit here. They are making a lot of updates. They are taking a lot of player feedback and making, I think personally, sufficient alterations to the game to improve it. I think this is another case of PSO2, and that is that the game released with not enough content to really retain player interest long term. And they're playing catch up after releasing the game. What this means is that players hit endgame and complete everything in a minimal amount of time, and then they just leave and never come back, as was the case with PSO2. Now, this does bode poorly for global, both games, actually, but at least with regards to Blue Protocol, it was confirmed we'll be getting a lot of the content that Japan has when the game officially launches in English. So we might not necessarily have as big of a problem in terms of the rate at which we consume the content at, because there might be a lot more of it to ultimately consume. It is definitely a little bit foreboding seeing both games severely underperform to this magnitude, and honestly, after seeing them both underperform, after seeing the absolute silence from Amazon as well, I do not think either game is necessarily going to do that well. Now, I really hope they do. I truly do, because every time an MMO dies, that's one less game I get to cover for my channel. Thus, the more games that die, the less videos I can push out. I don't want any MMO to fail. I would love something new, innovative, and fun to play. And I mean, at the end of the day, neither of these games might be the game that I'm after. Ashes probably won't. The Riot MMO might not be. ArcAge 2, who knows? All we do know is, in each game's respective country of origin, they have done very poorly, and we still don't have a projected release date for global. Now, if you're not interested in either of these games, absolutely no problem. I got you covered with 2 different videos on screen right now. That might be more up your alley.